What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets here, Rob. How's everybody doing? Before I get started talking about, is Kyle Seager going to be a Met very, very soon? Don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you enjoy my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, hit on that subscribe button, everybody. And let me know in the comments what you think about this possible acquisition of Kyle Seager and exactly what you think the Mets would have to give up to get Kyle Seager. So we're going to get right into it with Kyle Seager and exactly what his contract is, what his stats are, and what will it take to get Kyle Seager to the Mets. So when we talk about Kyle Seager, he's a solid player. He's obviously the lesser of the Seagers, but he's still a solid player. And when I saw this news on Twitter, which some of us have, or maybe most of us have, but when I saw that the Mets are in talks to acquire Kyle Seager, I'm like, okay, it's not a bad move. A little shocking because he is an infielder. He's a third base / second base type of guy, mostly third base. But Kyle Seager is a solid player. But I was really focused on thinking that the Mets were going to go more outfield, especially with the concerns we have about Conforto's hamstring, and also with the Nimmo nerve issue in center field. We have the Pilar issue, and we have the Almora issue. Even though Pilar and Almora might be coming back soon, there's going to be an adjustment for Pilar coming back, going back at the plate after getting hit in the face. And Almora, he'll be back, but he's not a hitter, Almora. He's a great defensive player, and we need more than that. So I was looking for the Mets to go more outfield acquisition other than infield. But it was alarming to see that J.D. Davis was playing first base. I don't think it was because of Alonso injury. I think it was more of the fact that Sandy Alderson, when it comes to trades, is one of the best in baseball. And I believe that he had this idea of getting Kyle Seager or another third baseman, possibly a bigger third baseman that we won't be talking about right now, but might have known about Kyle Seager and probably acquiring him. And that's the reason why J.D. Davis might be playing some first in the minor leagues. Probably because this Kyle Seager has been acquisition might be in the works for a couple of weeks now, and we just now hearing about it. So to go into more detail about Kyle Seager, what has his stats has been this year? Some of you might have looked into it. So I wanted to look into it because not only it's important to tell you guys, but it's also to understand what are we getting as a player Kyle Seager is. You know, we know he's good defensively, but obviously this team needs offense. We are dying for some offense. We're dying for some slugging. We're dying for some home runs. This is what Kyle Seager could bring to the New York Mets. So when we look at Kyle Seager and his stats right now in the 2021 season with the Seattle Mariners, this is what it looks like. So he is 33 years old. So he's not young, he's not old, he's in between, but he's a little up there in age. 33 years old. He's played 47 games. He has a 1.4 WAR, 171 at-bats, 40 hits, 9 home runs, a batting average of .234, 18 runs scored, 30 RBIs, has an on-base percentage of .307, slugging of .474, and an OPS of .781. Now, the average isn't something that, you know, you can really look at and be like, oh, he's a good average hitter. Be honest, 90% of baseball are not good average hitters. That's okay. Because what Kyle Seager does bring, besides the really good defense, is the power. He has 9 home runs in 47 games and 30 RBIs. You can't name one Met that has 9 home runs. That's a problem. And this team needs power. Kyle Seager can provide that. And even though he is another lefty bat, I do think Kyle Seager is a really good option that we just heard about the Mets possibly in trade talks with the Seattle Mariners for Kyle Seager. Now, some of you are going to say, oh boy, Seattle Mariners, Kalenic, and all that stuff. Yeah, I understand that. But what some of us have to remember and have to calm down a little bit, Sandy Alderson is not going to make the dumb mistake that Brody Van Wagenen did and give up more than what Kyle Seager is actually worth. We're not going to worry about that with Sandy Alderson because even though I've been down and I've I'm one of the non-supporters of Sandy Alderson as the GM of this team, or even the team president. Sandy Alderson is one of the best GM/presidents in baseball when it comes to trades. He's done excellent jobs when it comes to trade. If you want to talk about Oakland many years back and with the Mets the first time around. And I truly believe that Sandy Alderson will get Kyle Seager for a fair offer, and might even benefit the Mets more, knowing that they're probably not going to give what we think that we can actually give up to get Kyle Seager. Because let's be honest, he's on the last year of his deal, and we're going to get into his contract in a little bit. But he's 33 years old. He's not an all-star type player anymore, but he's a solid third baseman who can play every day and can provide that pop that this lineup so desperately needs, especially with all the injuries. Now, I truly think that Sandy Alderson really had this trade, or at least talking to Seattle probably a week or two ago, only because it was very odd when you saw J.D. Davis playing first base in the minors during his rehab starts. It was odd because, like, you have Dom Smith. Obviously, Alonso's hurt, but it seems like Alonso is not seriously hurt, so he's going to be back soon. So you had first base options. It's not the end of the world. So bringing J.D. Davis at first base was kind of odd because you could always just slide VR to second base and put J.D. Davis at third. It's not the end of the world. So when I saw that, I'm like, something's up. I didn't think it was going to be an infield trade. Maybe I thought that Alonso injury is more serious than we actually thought, or like we seen earlier today that Kyle Seager is a major option for the Mets because Sandy Alderson and the Mets are having preliminary talks with the Seattle Mariners about Kyle Seager. Now, when it comes to the contract, because you always want to look at the contract situation with a player that the Mets are acquiring or any team's acquiring, because it obviously affects payroll and it affects years down the road. So when we look at Kyle Seager's contract, this is what it looks like. He is at the end of his 7-year deal. That was a $100 million deal. As you can see right now, he's making $18 million this year, 14 and a little under 14 and a half luxury tax salary. And you could say, all right, it's 18, so he's probably going to get about $14 million from the Mets. Maybe even Seattle will put some money in the deal as well. So maybe the Mets might not have to pay the $18 million. They might only have to pay maybe $10 or $12 million of the last year of the deal. I have a feeling money's going to come back because if you notice years past with Sandy Alderson making deals, he always somehow gets money back in a trade. So the financial burden on the Mets is not as much as it would seem in the forefront. So Kyle Seager could be a Met and money could be coming back. But one thing to look at, Kyle Seager has an option that if he is traded, it becomes a player option in 2022. So as a 33-year-old going to be a 34-year-old in 2022, you're probably going to take a deal like that. You're going to take that player option because his player option, as you can see right here, is $15 million. That's why it's in red. So Kyle Seager will be a Met next year. There's no doubt about it, he's going to take that team option because there's no way in hell any team is going to give a 34-year-old $15 million, even if it is for 1 year. You're not going to see that. So if the Mets acquire Kyle Seager, that player option will be in effect, and that's another $15 million added to the payroll. Not speaking of the Mets having to extend Conforto, possibly Stroman, possibly Syndergaard. There's a lot of money that has to be thrown at these players to be extended. So it's a little thing to look at that maybe the Mets and Sandy Alderson will acquire Kyle Seager, but they might ask for some money in return to help the financial burden because the Mets have a lot of money to spend in this offseason, especially trying to extend the guys that we just talked about with Syndergaard, Stroman, and Conforto. It's a big problem. And even though Cohen has money, does not mean that he's just going to throw every dollar at every player just because Stroman, Syndergaard, and Conforto are probably big pieces of this team that need to be here. But you also have to look at the acquisitions that Sandy Alderson could be making with Kyle Seager, because that will be, not only it'll be around $18 million this year that's added to the payroll, it'll be a guaranteed another $15 million because of that player option if Kyle Seager is traded, that comes into play if he is traded to the Mets. So, a little shocking that Kyle Seager and a possible trade with the Mets, between the Seattle Mariners and the Mets, it's a little shocking because this team seriously needs outfield help. So it was a little shocking that you're going to see an infielder that could be acquired by the Mets, but it's not a bad option. Kyle Seager is a solid player, and there's no doubt I will approve this trade if Sandy Alderson does it. Now, obviously, it will take, we got to make sure we don't give up too much, but I don't think Sandy Alderson is that type of guy to do that. Maybe we might have to give a prospect between maybe 10 and 20 in our prospect list. Maybe. I don't think it's going to be more. I don't think it's going to be a top 10 prospect. If it is, it's probably going to be at the very top 10. But, you could probably see a player going back maybe top 15, top 20 in the Mets farm system. Maybe one or two of those guys. Maybe. I don't see much more than that. Or maybe, if you really want to think about this too, I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe J.D. Davis isn't a deal. Maybe they are putting him at first base in the minors to showcase him a little bit, him being able to play other positions. So it might be possible that J.D. Davis might be in a deal like this too. I don't think Sandy would do that, but let's be honest. During the offseason, Sandy Alderson was looking at any opportunity to get somebody else other than J.D. Davis to play third base during the offseason. It just happened that nothing worked out, and J.D. Davis happens to be the third baseman for the New York Mets. So it could be possible that playing first base in the minors for his rehab starts is a possibility that they might be showcasing him in another position, maybe influencing Seattle to take J.D. Davis as part of the package for Kyle Seager and say, look, J.D. Davis can play third and he can play first base too. And we know he can, in an emergency situation, play the outfield in left field. So maybe they're showcasing J.D. Davis to entice Seattle to take J.D. Davis as part of a package to acquire Kyle Seager to the Mets. So that is what's going on right now with the latest Mets trade rumors. Kyle Seager to the Mets is very possible, and the New York Mets and Seattle Mariners are having preliminary talks about acquiring Kyle Seager. So it is possible that a prospect from the 10 to 20 prospect pool, around 10 to the 20 on the list, could be a part of this deal, and possibly J.D. Davis. And I think maybe that's the reason why the Mets are playing him at first base, to showcase him at another position to entice the Seattle Mariners to take J.D. Davis in part of the package. So that is your news at the latest about Kyle Seager coming to the Mets. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. You enjoy all my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. Would you like this trade? Obviously it takes something to get something, but do you like this trade that could possibly happen with Kyle Seager? He will be a good addition, but what do you guys think? Do you think the Mets should go elsewhere, or do you think this will be a good move? Put it in the comments, guys. I will see you guys later. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, let's go Mets.